What happens when the very people writing the law are the first ones to break it? That is the dark tension at the center of Shakespeare's Measure for Measure. Take a look at Vienna. Not the pristine, majestic capital you might imagine, but a city actively rotting from the inside out. For years, the laws against crime, corruption, and sexual misconduct have been completely ignored, leaving a decaying society in their wake. This animated chart shows Vienna's sudden power shift. Duke Vincentio abruptly leaves, handing absolute authority to his deputy, Angelo. Angelo's response is a brutal overcorrection. He resurrects ancient laws, enforcing them with deadly severity to shock the city into submission. His first major target is a young man named Claudio. Claudio's crime? His fiancée, Juliet, is pregnant. Even though their relationship is consensual and fully engaged, Angelo makes a terrifying public example of him, sentencing Claudio to death. It forces an incredibly uncomfortable question. Is the law an unbending mathematical equation, or does true justice require a human element of mercy? Desperate to survive, Claudio turns to the one person he thinks can thaw his judge's icy exterior, his fiercely pure sister Isabella, who is days away from becoming a nun. He sends her to plead for his life, setting up the psychological trap that drives one of the author's most brilliant thrillers. When Isabella arrives, she delivers a brilliant, devastating argument for compassion. She tells Angelo that true greatness is found in mercy, not the raw exercise of power. But her fierce moral conviction triggers an entirely unexpected disaster. Angelo, the supposedly flawless beacon of discipline, becomes completely consumed by physical desire for her. His rigid morality instantly liquefies. This stark balancing scale illustrates the horrifying ultimatum he lays out. On one side, Claudio's life. On the other, Isabella's virtue. If she sleeps with him, her brother lives. If she refuses, Claudio dies. Isabella is trapped in a devastating psychological bind. She must either condemn her own brother to an execution or sacrifice her deepest religious beliefs and her eternal soul to a corrupt tyrant. The choice is literally impossible to balance. She brings this nightmare to Claudio, expecting him to share her disgust. Instead, terrified of the executioner's block, Claudio begs his sister to take Angelo's horrific deal. It is a brutal, emotionally devastating moment. When a human being is pushed to the absolute brink of survival, raw, primal fear will often obliterate any commitment to moral ethics. Then comes the twist. Duke Vincentio never actually left Vienna. He disguised himself as a friar, remaining in the city to secretly observe everyone. He acts as a shadow director, manipulating the entire drama and watching Angelo's corruption unfold from the dark. To counter Angelo, the Duke seeks out Mariana, a woman Angelo abandoned years ago when her dowry was lost at sea. He proposes the bed trick, a dark deception where Mariana will take Isabella's place in the shadows, reuniting with her former fiancé under the cover of night. The swap works perfectly, but even after Angelo believes he has taken Isabella's purity, paranoia sets in. Terrified that Claudio might eventually expose him, Angelo orders the execution anyway. The Duke has to scramble. He secretly arranges for a different, already dead prisoner's severed head to be sent to Angelo, buying Claudio time in the cells. By breaking his promise, Angelo sheds the persona of a rigorous judge. He weaponizes the law as a personal shield, proving that his authority serves his own survival rather than the pursuit of justice. The tension finally breaks when the Duke publicly returns to Vienna in his true identity, setting the stage for a massive, high-stakes public trial. Isabella steps forward to accuse Angelo in front of the entire city. The Duke drops his friar disguise, and Claudio is brought out of the prison, alive. The entire corrupt, hypocritical structure collapses in an instant. This diagram shows exactly why scholars label Measure for Measure a problem play. It sits trapped squarely in the uneasy middle between the comedy circle, which traditionally ends in marriage, and the tragedy circle, which ends in death. The neat resolution feels deeply uncomfortable and morally unresolved. You see that discomfort in how the justice is handed out. Angelo is forced to marry Mariana against his will, and Claudio weds Juliet. These marriages function as state-mandated sentences. broken, transactional resolutions to a chaotic social crisis. Then the Duke makes his final move. Out of nowhere, he demands Isabella's hand in marriage. He effectively traps her using the exact same power dynamic Angelo used, only this time it's disguised as legitimate authority. And Isabella gives no response. Shakespeare ends the play without giving her a single word. She just stands there in silence. It is an incredibly modern, unresolved challenge. We are left staring into the dangerous gap between public virtue and private desire, asking, what happens when those holding absolute power enforce moral standards they refuse to live by?